Hi, Abraham. I want to thank everybody here first for giving me a reason for being, and all those who have come before me, and all that is ahead of us. I'm focused, driven from inside to just be conscious all the time, which is such a joy.
Conscious meaning not unconscious, but conscious meaning
aware of source, connected with source, aligned.
So conscious meaning aware of how you feel.
Right.
We think that's the best definition of consciousness. I'm consciously aware of how I feel, because that means I'm aware of the blending of the two consciousness perspectives that are mine.
Right, and so I see through the eyes of source, and what I mean by that is I learned that levitation is a consciousness thing, that I can step out of my body and see the greater picture.
Yeah.
And feel that and allow that to be. I look back at my life, and I stayed innocent my whole life. I came into parents that they gave me unconditional love. That's all they had to give to me, and then I had to create my own life all the way through, and that was a blessing for me.
Not had to, got to.
Got to. Okay, got to. That's good clarity. Thank you. And then early on, I learned how to create my own reality at work. It didn't matter what was there. It was what I put into it and what I created. And it was kind of like being a master,
So are you talking about are you saying to us that you were able to make the best of what you saw, or change what you saw to be the best?
I was able to change it by being positive, and just loving and caring, and just not being attached, just feeling the best in the moment, and just being the first one there, and just do it, and just do it for the night shift. It didn't matter. And then as I went along, I was always led to. I was in the Army, total success there by doing the same thing. Didn't matter who I was around. It's what I was and what I was inspired to be. Yeah. And I was able to follow that. And then I was led to a family called the Source family and the Love family, and I was able to experience all this essence and draw from the essence and just let the rest of the stuff go. Which is in those days we called planting seeds, which really was filling the vortex. I see it now as I was filling the vortex. Couldn't live it all, but I could just appreciate it for what it was, and knew that I would catch up to it eventually. Yeah. And I've followed all the way through to you, Hay House, and I've just had this tremendous experience. I had a friend who passed within the last couple of weeks, and we had this relationship of being present and talking about reality of conscious being, connection source. It took 2 days for her to connect with me, and she blessed me. She filled my grid in a way that certain things just fell away, that were just little attachments to me.
But it's important to know that all of you have that all of the time. You have non-physical assistants like friends upstream who can see the whole view, who are arbitrating and facilitating on your behalf, but they cannot facilitate beyond your vibrational ability to accept what they are facilitating, which means since they're available all of the time and they're available to all of you, it really falls to your expectation in order to allow it. So what are we going to do here that takes us beyond?
I come here and I listen to the discussion here, and last night I ran over a dog, so here we are talking about the bunny or the dog. I hit this dog, and my vibration was stable. It didn't get out of control. The friend in my car was all emotional. It was amazing that I watched myself, and I just stopped the car and helped the dog and made the phone calls, and there was just no variance in my vibration. And it just showed me the stability I get from practicing being in alignment. And it was just a great experience to experience.
How often do you run over dogs?
Not too often, I hope,
So it's not something that you had practiced on a regular basis?
No.
And how do you think that your friend making a transition a couple of weeks ago had something active that was different going on in your vibration that would be part of that vibrational mix?
I don't think that was it. I think that This dog...
You just think it was a random dog?
No, I don't think it was random. I don't think it was random either. I think in my alignment, it turned out that this dog had just been transported from a place that had lived for a long time, and the dog was unhappy and got out of the house and escaped. And I have a feeling that I was just, I know eternal, there's no death.
So you were a cooperative component.
I was a cooperative component
to what?
in the situation.
A cooperative component.
The dog says, the dog ran, I'm ready to go.
A cooperative component to what?
To alignment of source.
A cooperative component to the dog finding its freedom.
Right.
Coming into alignment. And so is this more of a conversation about co-creative partners? Is it a conversation about the fact that there is no death? What's significant about that to you? In other words, that whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it is a significant experience to have an experience like that. In other words, the fact that you didn't freak out is a good thing, but it was a significant experience. What do you think the significance of it was? Because we think it's a better idea to acknowledge the significance of it than to just pass it off as nothing, because it wasn't nothing, it was something.
I think it was for me to just experience that.
Experience what?
My vibrational stability, or being able to soothe, I was able to soothe the dog, talk to the people afterwards. A deeper thought here is I've had, in my focus, I've experienced the places where, am I ready to make my transition? That's how clear I can get. When you talked about that early, the ultimate alignment is making your transition. And I experienced that. I've experienced thoughts
Your
of that.
friend who made the transition, did she get run over by a car?
Kinda. She was an alcoholic. She did get run over by a car a long time ago, but then she learned to take advantage of that situation and refocus herself and help a lot of people in that situation.
So what was the path of least resistance for her?
She had cancer, and she just went to sleep. The ease of it,
So have you been pondering the path of least resistance, the path through which people are making their transition? You see, we're going to wrap this up really fast because we could talk for hours and have a very good time, but we want to get to the poignancy of this. So I want to say to you that there are lots of different ways that people are making their transition into non-physical. And the ease of it has to do with how sensitive they are to the vibration of their being, and how therefore capable they are of releasing into the inevitable flow. In other words, when we say you want to get ready you want to prepare your grid and be ready so that what's in your vortex can easily flow, and as we said earlier, sometimes that death process is the path of least resistance for the answering of the most of what is wanted. The beasts of your planet are the best teachers that you have, because they present to you constantly with no distortion of words, because they don't have words, so they can only teach the clarity of their example. They just teach and they give to you the things that you've been asking for. So this dog demonstrates the ease with which in a second they can reemerge into non-physical. No fuss, no muss, and even kind enough and in alignment enough to choose someone who won't be ruffled in the process, you see. Sort of like the cat brings you the rabbit. It's all sort of the same process. It's source energy, you're right, letting you know that you are a co-creative partner in all of this. Humans are just making too much of the death experience. And it's really a freakishly interesting thing, because it's something that everyone will experience, and everyone who knows everyone will experience. In other words, you don't know anybody who's not going to have the experience of it. And yet it's something that most people are standing in such resistance of. We think sometimes that people come to gatherings like this and they start with the most difficult thing that they have, and that's what they want to find softening of resistance about. And the things that you have the most resistance about are the things that are the most difficult for you to release resistance about. So we always say start with something easy, and now we're saying go general, go general, go general. And what you begin to discover is that You can make your transition into non-physical in a variety of different ways, but in every single case, it is the reemergence into the wholeness of that which you are, and it is a deeply satisfying, beyond verbal description, wonderful experience. And in the moment that that transition is made, there is full awareness of where you were last standing and who you were last standing with and what you were last interested in and what was going on in your life experience. And just because you have made your transition into non-physical does not mean that you cease being interested in and, in essence, working on the things that you were talking about and thinking about and working on before. And that's when it really becomes interesting, because then cooperative components like you come into the experience for the continuing of all of that. Now, the dog or the rabbit, not nearly as interested in carrying on the specifics. And anyway, they're coming right back. Humans, really interested in carrying on the experience. So we think that a lot of what you're talking about here is you're becoming more consciously aware of your ability to stand in your now with the fullness of so much more of you flowing through you in any moment in time. Yes?
Right.
And it's going to be more poignant for you now than it's been for a while because of your conscious association with your friend who's just made the transition.